Have you ever heard the story of Muselk? It's quite a divisive tale depending on who you ask. Some people speak of him as simply a friend, someone who they go to when they need a good laugh or an interesting story. To these people, Muselk is someone they value and care about for who he is and the art he produces. However, some speak of him as if he's a criminal, someone to be avoided, shunned, and degraded. You hear the word traitor thrown around by these people a lot, almost as if he had done something personal to them. In order to be betrayed, there had to have been some kind of trust built up first. But how could Muselk have done this? He must have made a lot of friends with a lot of people throughout his life to have developed this traitorous reputation among so many. Maybe he was a politician who failed to deliver on his campaign promises upon election. Perhaps he was an inventor who set out on an ambitious journey to make something truly groundbreaking, but instead failed to meet expectations he established for himself and his followers. But even with these pursuits, people's failures aren't described as a betrayal. A politician fails to do what he says. An inventor fails to create what he attempts to. But they aren't considered traitors. No, Muselk was neither of these. Muselk was a YouTuber. Trust is one of humanity's hottest commodities, but few people are giving it out, and even fewer people are giving it out for free. According to economics, scarcity produces demand, so everyone is looking for someone to trust.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! What? It was obvious!
Being able to have faith that someone will always be there for you is a nice feeling, but not one that comes easily. It takes work and time to build that trust with another person. The same goes when you're a creator. Every time you make something new, you're setting expectations for your audience of what you are capable of. You're building a relationship with every single person that consumes the content and enjoys the work that you do. But it's different than when you make friends with someone in person and build trust with them individually. When you're a creator, you're dealing with a monolith of different people, all with varying expectations and desires. As an artist, your goal is to make something they'll love, but also something that you want to make.
Because people chase that, like, oh, people like this, let's make 5 million. And it's like...
Every piece of content someone makes falls somewhere on this Venn diagram. Ideally, the content a creator makes should be somewhere in the overlapping point between these two circles. That way, the creator wants to make the content, and the audience wants to receive the content. However, as a creator gets more of a following, the demand for more content increases, while the amount of content that you want to make stays about the same, maybe even shrinking as the magnitude of your audience becomes too daunting to handle. Eventually, if not properly handled, the sliver of content that both you and your audience wants from you will disappear. This leaves the creator to make one crucial choice: make content they want to make, or make content their audience wants them to make. This is the quandary of creation in the modern age. Who will you be loyal to? Your own life, or the audience you love?
Alright, what's going on, guys? I'm here playing Minecraft, which is...
When starting out on YouTube, this question is often far from the minds of brand new content creators producing their first ever YouTube video. Unlike other creative pursuits like traditional art or writing, most people don't practice making YouTube videos by themselves before showing their first one to the public. The vast majority of YouTubers started off making bad content, got feedback from the small pool of people watching their videos, and then slowly improved over time. The protagonist of our story today is no different. Elliot Watkins started releasing content for the game Team Fortress 2 in 2013 under the pseudonym of Muselk. His first video, fittingly, was a 13-second clip of him getting a rocket jumping kill with the mann stomp, uploaded on August 9th, 2013. This clip would later be included in a tutorial released the very next day on August 10th. He'd keep releasing TF2 tutorial content over the course of the next month, interspersed with the occasional meme compilation or live commentary.
Hey everyone, so I was looking at my YouTube and I figured it's been a few days since I put out my last video, so I may as well just make a live commentary to, you know, put something there if anyone wants to watch it.
A month after his video released, he had made 14 more videos, showing an immense amount of dedication to his channel. He even ran a contest in the first month of making content.
Hi, Billy Mays here with Zorbies.
Over the course of the next year, Muselk would release dozens of videos, including the starts of Impractical Loadouts, TF2 Mythbusters, and Is It OP?
What is up, guys, and welcome to what is going to be the first episode of a new mini-series that I am thinking of starting, where we will test out the most OP weapons, or stereotypically OP weapons of TF2, and try and find out if they really do live up to their reputation.
All of these series would prove to be massively popular, and continued propelling Muselk's channel into the stratosphere. Less than a year after uploading content regularly, in April of 2014, Muselk achieved 10,000 subscribers, a massive milestone for any creator. These early videos are a time capsule of old TF2 content, as well as YouTube in general. It's almost odd to look at some of these video lengths in comparison to the content made today. Not to mention that, no matter what the topic was, Muselk's sense of humor showed brightly through the editing and presentation of every single video.
Salvation of a health pack. When it is stolen from you, you're starting to become nervous now. As a man you once thought your friend stands and mocks you with a sandwich. You have seconds left. You don't understand. How is such cruelty possible?
The guy had a certain charm to him that made him easy to latch onto and enjoy, and his content was often eye-catching and engaging because of it. It's clear that, at this point, Muselk was making content that he wanted to make. He still posted memes and silly low-effort videos just out of a love for the game and its inherent wackiness. That's not to say that he didn't also make content with views and money in mind. The rapid pace of the TF2 Mythbusters series is proof of that. It just so happened that this kind of content is also what his audience loved. And when your fans love it, and you love it,
why would you ever stop?
Just 8 months after hitting 10,000 subscribers, Muselk added one more zero to the total. In the same month of this insane achievement, the beta for a brand new game called Overwatch was released to a select group of people who signed up for it. Made by Blizzard and being similar to TF2 in more than a few ways, Overwatch was widely anticipated by fans of the hero shooter genre. Muselk was one of the lucky few who was able to play the beta and released a video covering the various heroes and abilities present in the game. The reception of this video was overwhelmingly positive, as the TF2 community was excited to have some variety and competition in the form of a brand new game to toy with. Overwatch was still in beta, so there wasn't too much content to cover, but the community was happy with just a bit of variety in their favorite game genre. Just a bit, though. With all the success Muselk was accumulating, he was eager to spread the love to other creators. Two of these creators were Star and Germa, TF-tubers who were rising at a similar time to Muselk. He even met the two of them at an event Blizzard held in 2015 to promote Overwatch, where he and several other creators were flown out to give their thoughts and opinions on the game. It was clear that Blizzard was making an active attempt to try and take what was so loved about TF2 and infuse it into their own game, and Muselk was very happy to be a part of the process. Just 2 years after becoming a YouTuber, and he was already getting recognition by big, multi-million-dollar companies. He was living the dream. After this trip, Muselk began experimenting more with playing games other than TF2, making videos for Subnautica, GTA 5, and CSGO, all to resounding positivity. Of course, there was still a strong focus on Team Fortress 2, because that's what the fans wanted. And when the fans wanted it... On July 16th, 2015, just 2 years after uploading content regularly to YouTube, Muselk reached 300,000 subscribers, tripling his sub count from just a year and a half earlier. In the announcement video for this milestone, Muselk mentions, quite casually I might add, that he hasn't slept in weeks due to the pressure he put on himself to put out videos every single day.
Make another special video, like my channel trailer, to celebrate the big 300k, but with all the craziness around the gunmetal update and trying to put out daily videos, I've really had no time. I basically haven't slept in about 3 weeks, and I'm working on that special update video right now, but that's still a few weeks away, which is okay, because it means in the meantime I can do this video, which is more of a kind of, personal chat, heart to heart, seeing what's going on with you guys and, tell you what's going on with me.
It's clear based off of his tone that he was working himself past the point of his passion. It makes you wonder just how much he wanted to make the content he was producing. How small had that circle shrunk? Despite his seeming exhaustion, he was certainly successful at his job. He kept pushing and pushing, making video after video as the views and subs continued to climb throughout 2015. However, the majority of the videos that did well were the TF2 content. No other game treated Muselk as well as TF2. That is, until November 15th, 2015. Huh, that video did really well. But maybe it was a fluke. I'll give it another try in a few months. Oh, well, the game isn't out yet. It's probably just hype for the moment. Not that big of a difference, I'm sure. See, this video about Zenyatta didn't do that great, and this soldier video did way better. I knew I had nothing to worry about. Oh. Oh. Oh! As Overwatch's beta reignited, Muselk released several videos promoting the release of Blizzard's newest hit game, all of which hit over 1 million views. Immediately, there was a demand for more Overwatch content from Muselk, and he was ready to deliver. After all, if the fans wanted it, why would he ever stop? The game hadn't even released yet, and he was already on the ground floor of Overwatch's launch. This didn't stop him from making TF2 content, though. Easily his most successful TF2 video was released during this time period, accumulating over 10 million views since its released. It was clear, Muselk had added another powerhouse of a game to his arsenal, and he was ready to give the people what they wanted. Muselk would alternate between TF2 and Overwatch constantly, still releasing a brand new video every single day. As usual, Muselk's work ethic was at an insane high, and his drive to produce content seemed to be infinite. He had successfully diversified his content, and was now doing nearly double the numbers he had a year ago. On September 13th, less than 3 years after uploading his first ever video, Muselk reached 1 million subscribers. This was it, the pinnacle of YouTube. Many have dreamed of making it this far, but only a select few have actually succeeded. Muselk was now among the 0.001% of YouTubers. He had worked his absolute heart out, fought sleepless nights, poured blood, sweat, and tears into his content, and built a community of people who loved and supported everything he made. He did it. He was a YouTuber. Now what? One of the most common questions an artist faces is, when does it all end? What's the end goal of art? When you're a lawyer or a doctor, your end goal is some certification or fancy desk position or something like that, but when you're a creator, when are you supposed to stop? At what point can you finally be satisfied with what you've made and call it quits? The answer a lot of artists come to is that they can't stop. Regardless of what happens, they will ride their success into the sunset, incessantly producing the art they fell in love with all those years ago, constantly trying to recapture the magic it once had. They cease to hold the brush that creates the art, and let the art hold them hostage instead.
I did not know this. You were doing 2 videos a day for 5 years?
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
Was that on purpose? Or? I don't know. I mean, it was really different back then. Nowadays, people love to look back at that content with today's lens, but it's like, we weren't making highly produced content back then.
Right.
And I wasn't sitting down for like 3 hours on one game to get like a 20-minute video. It's like, you record for like 15 minutes and that's it. It's unedited.
What was the catalyst for not doing that anymore?
I hated myself. I got so sick of it and I was like, man, this is so boring to do.
There was no sign of stopping in Muselk's mind. He had made it this far. The numbers didn't lie. He had an audience, and he was going to give that audience what they wanted. The circle of content that he wanted to make was out of view. It was no longer a factor. He didn't even bother to write a description for his 1 million subscriber special. There was no time to savor the moment. He had work to do. Quickly after this moment, Muselk must have realized that Overwatch was rapidly outgrowing TF2's shadow. It had a wider reach and larger potential for content. As such, he made more videos. He'd still make the occasional TF2 video for the people who were still there for it, but he knew what his audience wanted. Look at these numbers. The people wanted Overwatch, and if the fans wanted it, why would he ever stop? It was around this time that Muselk's average video length doubled. The algorithm had changed to value watch time more than it used to, so he adapted accordingly. It was getting to the point where Overwatch was basically all he played. Day after day, more and more Overwatch content was getting pumped out. He might give himself a break and not upload for a day, but only if he's willing to accept the drop in views the next video would have. Throughout all of 2016 and 2017, Muselk would lean heavy into Overwatch content. He even got to meet Jeff Kaplan, the vice president of Blizzard at the time. He was all in on Overwatch. On November 11th, 2017, shortly after the release of TF2's last major update, Jungle Inferno, Muselk would release his final major Team Fortress 2 video. There'd be a couple smaller videos released after this, one on his main channel, some on his side channel, but as far as the version of Muselk that the TF2 community knew, this was it. It was over. Muselk was gone. The denial lasted months, but eventually people finally read the writing on the wall. Muselk's days of playing Team Fortress 2 were over. Not only that, but people began to realize that the man they once knew was starting to prioritize a new audience. Around this time, Muselk began catering his videos to children, a demographic not very familiar with Team Fortress 2. The game's popularity was at an all-time low. It was a sinking ship taking on too much water, and Muselk was not going to be the team captain to go down with the ship. He was going to point and shoot in a new game, Overwatch. People begged him to come back, and they mourned when he was gone. Some are still mourning his loss to this day. Some are still angry that he left in the first place. Many still remark that Muselk is a traitor to the Team Fortress 2 community. How could you blame him though? He was making the content he wanted to make for a new group of fans who wanted to see it. And if the fans wanted it, why would he ever stop? No matter how much the vocal minority was upset by it, Muselk was going to make Overwatch content for the majority of his fanbase, who absolutely loved it. Overwatch's heyday didn't last nearly as long as TF2's did. Sure, people were playing it, but the community that surrounded Overwatch was gaining a reputation for being infuriating and toxic, the exact opposite of the fun-loving, goofy personality being portrayed by Muselk in his newer content. He needed an out. He needed to find something new to base his channel around. Something colorful, catchy, trendy, and interesting. But Muselk was nothing if not tenacious. He had been in this game for long enough to know he would find something, but it was 2017. And that means there was only one game everyone wanted to see. Fortnite.
Send me out the map. Just here. Send me out the map.
Alright guys, so in today's video, I put together a little bit of a compilation of the many attempts where me and Lockie were learning to do the riding rocket strategy, all the way from our very first try to when we finally got it to work and get the win. But
in 2018, Fortnite became the most popular thing since Air. People, mostly children, flocked far and wide to be constantly fed Fortnite content. Due to Muselk's already rapidly growing fanbase from his Overwatch videos, the algorithm made his Fortnite videos front and center. He was already popular and very marketable, so YouTube gave him near constant access to the recommendations of anyone who had even Googled Fortnite before. Immediately, Muselk reached new heights, releasing a Fortnite video that hit over 15 million views. Within weeks, Overwatch was merely an afterthought in Muselk's daily content barrage, appearing about as often as Battlefront or Rainbow Six. It was around this time that Muselk's now infamous thumbnail style became widespread. Who knew that red arrows with yellow text and a Victory Royale PNG were all you needed to get millions upon millions of views? It was as if Muselk had cracked some sort of code. He had won the YouTube game. As long as he uploaded a 20-minute Fortnite video, he was getting over 1 million views every single day. Before long, Overwatch was a distant memory, only occasionally cropping up when a new update was released for the game. He had found a money machine, an infinite money glitch, and all it cost was his personality. A common perception that people have is that Muselk is a traitor because he ditched TF2 to play Overwatch. However, I'd like to offer an alternative thought. I think Muselk's betrayal came about when he lost his individuality. Artists throughout history have switched their style, their genre, or their subject matter and seen massive success. People do often feel betrayed, but if the content they're making is good, their reputation often remains intact. This can even be seen within the TF2 community itself. You don't hear people call Funk or Germa traitors, because they're still the same person now that they've always been. Muselk didn't betray the TF2 community, the Overwatch community, or even his own fans. Muselk betrayed the creator he once was. If you watch Muselk in 2014 and then watch him in 2023, you see a man who's become a caricature. There's a weird cognitive dissonance knowing that this isn't the way Muselk normally talks or acts. And you know this because you've seen what Muselk is like when he's not acting or playing a character for his audience. You've seen it. And in the case of many people, you probably miss it. It's all the more depressing watching Muselk today because you know what he's capable of. He didn't even make a Fortnite Mythbusters series. He made an Overwatch Mythbusters series, but nothing for Fortnite. He didn't try to change his style or break new ground. He just started making the content everyone else was already making on YouTube. Could you imagine if Muselk tried to do something different with his Fortnite content? Instead of a video about the OP double shotgun meta with this thumbnail and this title, he could have rebooted his Is It OP series and made it in Fortnite. That would have been a cool adaptation of his old content. I imagine his Team Fortress 2 fans would honestly be interested to see how his style translates to a new game. But unfortunately, that's not what he did, because that's not what his new fans wanted. And if his fans didn't want it, why would he do it? When the creator has the choice between making content for themselves and making content for their fans, it's easy to lose track of which circle you're in at any given time. I'm sure that if you asked Muselk today, he'd say that he loves his job. It's a dream come true for him given how hard he worked to get here and how successful he's become because of it. However, who do you think he's making the content for? Which circle is he in? On one hand, he's making the content to keep himself financially flourishing. He has to support his family, and if YouTube puts food on the table, why would he stop that? On the other hand, he still regularly gets over 100k views on his new videos. Though it's a fraction of what he used to during Fortnite's heyday, he's still getting overwhelmingly positive reception on each video he makes. People still love his content like they always have. If you view things this way, it sounds like Muselk is doing what he's supposed to. He's making content for his own life and the audience that he loves. That's the goal, right? To be in this little sliver in the Venn diagram? What most creators don't realize until it's too late is that there's a third circle to be considered. You make content for your life, you make content for your loves, and you make content for your legacy. When all is said and done, when your art is all that remains, what will the work you leave behind say about you? If you read Muselk's story, you find a man who's discovered his passion, but pushed it past the point of no return. No longer does he make content as Elliot, using Muselk as a nickname. Now he makes content as Muselk, and Elliot is reserved for family and friends. In the end, Muselk chose to support himself, his family, and give the people what they wanted. We all go through life thinking about these two circles, even if it's not entirely conscious. Every day we work to accomplish something for ourselves or for the people we care about. Few people truly stop to think about what it all means. What will we all leave behind when it's all said and done? Is it worth considering the greater effects of an action on one's legacy, or does none of that matter in comparison to one's life and one's loves? I don't know the answer to that question, but I certainly think Muselk's story presents an example of what can happen when reputation is disregarded in favor of immediate success. His legacy lost, his loyalty lies in his life and his loves. Perhaps one day, Muselk will want to be himself again. And if Muselk wants something, nothing will stop him.